Hello everybody and welcome back to part 4 of the Chevy V8 S10 swap. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a couple little things real quick. So I've been doing a few things. I'm waiting on some intake gaskets right now, which I should have in the next couple days. But see, I've got my bow tie manifold on there. Carburetor's got 2 bolts in it holding it on. I got 2 bolts in the front of this holding it down because I decided I'd go ahead and I would get my throttle linkage all done up and everything back over there. So you can see that so far. I've got to do one more thing to it, but basically is what I did. You take the stock 2.2 liter bracket and you can see where my red lines are right here. You cut it here and you cut it here. And then you slot the end of this out right here. So this one here, you just slot this out from here to here. So you got like a C shape. And that makes it so you can take this piece, goes this way. You can see it back here, how I've got it set right now. It's just got a washer on it and a bolt. And it's just held in one spot. And then I was able to take this other end piece I cut off here. The reason I cut it off here, I've done this on a few of them. So you cut this piece off right there. I get a bolt in the nut and tighten it down tight through here. And then I take this piece and put it over it. And then this actually just floats in there, see? So it comes through the back of here. It hits up against this, and it can move a little bit, but not enough that it's going to ever let it fall out. So you can use that little piece right there. I do that. I've done that a few times. And then now I've got this third one, so I'll take this one, and I'll end up cutting it. I'll probably end up cutting it right through here, over to here, and then out, just so I have this piece. Oops. So it'll make it so I'll have this piece right here, all the way up to here, and I'll just have that little strip. This will actually go in right here once I get this all. You can't really lay it in there with it all together still, but this will go in there and it'll bolt into them bolts down there in the bottom. So it'll have 2 bolting points, one here and one here. And that'll make it for that. And I don't need a kickdown cable slot for this one because Turbo 400 don't have a kickdown cable. So that'll be fairly easy. But like everything else I've showed you guys, see, I went ahead and swapped this over to this manifold. I'm going to get a different neck for this because this one I don't like it to come up. I want one of the ones that comes out this way. And I'm trying to locate like a 1994, 93 Chevy, all the brackets to go to the heads. And I'm going to buy a new water pump for the reverse rotation for the 94 if I can find all the brackets. If I can't find all that stuff, so this stuff, I got all this brackets. This stuff is all for the V-belt alternator. And I got the V-belt bracket here or the pulley here on the water pump and the V-belt one on the bottom. But I'm either going to have to find the 94 setup, or I'm going to have to find a different power steering pump assembly that's got a V-belt instead of a serpentine belt. But I'd like to go with serpentine belt if I can, because that just makes it a little nicer. But I think I usually normally run a Corvette radiator in these trucks when I put them together. And probably next couple of weeks I'll just order a brand new aluminum Corvette radiator. But in order to do that even, you've got to go right here. And you've got this extra lip right here. And it won't fit. It won't fit up in there. And I don't want it out here flush on the lip here. So what you do is you go in here and you come down a little bit about there. Cut this off all the way across here. Clear to the other side where it turns into this side support. So you'll cut clear to that all the way across here, all the way to this side. And by doing that, you take out this, there's another layer underneath here. So like this is like an inch, probably an inch thick right here. But if you cut that out, then you can cut this other layer out. Then your radiator will have enough room that you can actually take it and you can actually stick it up in the core support. So you have enough room where, like if you really want to, you can actually run a just a small flex fan and maybe an electric fan or two up here in the front. But oh, also I forgot to show you guys, I'm getting sick of this, my grill and stuff getting all banged around, so I'll show you guys what I did. This was the 96, so it had the other style headlights. So now I've got the 05, or like, I think they're 05, maybe they're 02. But anyway, these are out of an S10 Blazer. The bumper's off of an S10 Blazer. The grill's out of an S10 Blazer. These are out of an S10 pickup that had a broken grill, these billet inserts. So there's the front of my ride right there, how it's going to look. I got all the wire, the lights all plugged in. The only thing I have to do on the lights, the plugs are the same for the lights, but they won't reach from here to here. When you plug one of them in, the other one won't reach to here. So you basically have to, there's like tape, and it's looped around the wires, holding them all together into a bundle right here. You got to cut that tape. You can separate these out, so you got plenty of room for each to reach each light. And that's really all you have to do. And my shop's kind of a mess. I need to roll up all my cords and stuff. Driving me nuts. But so the headers are all in. They fit good. You guys have seen. I've got to get this tied in. So I got vacuum for my brakes. I still need to take my brake lines over here and take the little keeper off of them down here. This little keeper. And I'm going to have to work them all over and maybe even back that way and roll them down in, just so they're away from the exhaust. I don't really want to mess anything up with that or burn, get my brake fluid hot and boil it and make it so I have no brakes. That would suck. But yeah, that's how I do that. That's a cheap way to do this, and it works good, and it's not really rigged up because it works about perfect anyway. Like I can get in it and throttle it right now and it'll open and close. So still got to put a return spring on that once I get done, which I can either drill a hole in this plate or I can just hook it through this hole right here that's in the bracket. But I've left enough room there where if I really do want to, I've got this other piece right here, which that'll allow you to run the throttle cable and a kickdown cable as well here. But where I'm going with Turbo 400, I'm not too worried about the kickdown cable because it doesn't have one. So that helps with that. And all right, so I had cleaned that top lip up on that up there. You can see right here along the top of here. Clean that all up there, and on this side I slotted this up at the top and at the bottom a little bit both ways so I can move this up and down. And that gives me, about a, heck, I don't know, probably a ½ inch extra of space. So I have extra ½ inch of space that I can use. I'll show you guys out here. So now, like I've literally got, like I can almost put my pinky between the exhaust and the steering shaft there. That way, if I turn it sideways on the flat spot, I mean, now I've got like a whole, I can put a whole finger under there if I really want then. But I got that all adjusted down. It's kind of cool. So actually where I had dropped that down, that rubber right there stretches enough that it'll allow me to use the original holes to put that cover back around my steering shaft. So that's going to make things a little bit easier. And you'll have to do a lot of adjusting as you go. And yours might work different than mine. I'm really kind of not liking the set of motor mounts I got. I think they're kind of pieces of crap. Which I wish I would have got something different, but that's what I have for now. So if I get some other ones, I might get another set later and make it work better. But for now, it works. And like I showed you guys before, I had to shim my motor mounts up on this side just to give me that little extra bit of twist. So, I mean, my engine sits in there. It's pretty flat right now. But I've still got, like, I got tons of room back there. See all the room I have? It's a lot of room. So, and where I'm going to run electric fans, I don't think I'm going to kick it back too far because I'll have electric fans, and so my radiator will sit up into here. So, I mean, I'll put this right at the edge. You can see the edge, how much space I got. Like I've got good probably 3 inches of space there. So if I set my radiator up in the core support here, and I've been messing with some ideas too. I'd like to get my air conditioning stuff back in here too. But I might have to do a little bit of finagling in the front up here to make that work and put it just behind my grill and use a smaller condenser maybe. Just so that I just want it to be clean, a clean install. I don't want it to have a bunch of garbage and crap everywhere. I just want it to look nice. So I'll keep playing with it and probably have it fired up pretty quick. I got me a starter. Supposedly it's supposed to work, so I'll go ahead and throw that on. And I got my intake back on now with this intake. Got all my stuff switched over to it, so I can use, like all this stuff over here. I still got to find the oil one for my oil sensor, but other than that, it should be pretty easy. Also, like on your steering shaft, normally there's a rubber boot that covers this steering shaft. It might be clear. It's either to this point or this point. I can't tell. That point is a rub mark where it's kind of rusty, so it could have been there. But it has a rubber boot that goes either from here or here all the way up to like up here. And I take that and I just slice that rubber boot and pull it off because it just is in the way. So it's like a silicone boot, actually. It's kind of like just a chunk of silicone. Looks like a shock cover almost. So you cut that off, get it out of your way. I've still got to do some more stuff on this. I still got this side over here. I mean, I got 2 inches up there on the top of space. So I actually got underneath and I cut the end of my transmission cross member off. The spot where it used to sit at with the 5-speed, it's like a little, I don't know, it comes out and it's like a little shape like that goes on the front of the cross member and has a single hole in the middle. Like I can probably just slide under there and show you guys even what I cut off to get it out of the way. So I slice that piece off for now because that's going to be, let's see if I can get you guys set up here where you can see it better. You can see right there where I cut it off right here because it was coming out and touching the edge of the oil pan right here. So I slice that off and I'll actually get another plate and a motor mount or a tranny mount, put it up on top up here in between there. I'll make a new mount for that. Have it all done, but like you can see how much space there is down here. If you look up there, there's a header. It's got plenty of space. I got a Y pipe already rounded up and everything wherever it went. There it is. My Y pipe that I'm going to use is out of a 4.3 Blazer. And I'm going to use it because it's got the bungs right here for the O2 sensors on it. Because I'm going to eventually LS swap this truck, but that'll make it so I can like tape the ends of these up and tuck them away for now so I have my O2 sensors. But like I've got a lot of room in here really. That Turbo 400, I almost think it fits better than Turbo 350. I may be wrong, but it seems like it. But I'll probably have to shim that motor mount maybe up there. And my exhaust will come over. The Y will bring it right here through here and back that way. And then I'm probably going to I kind of want to just do an axle dump with my new exhaust setup that I got. So that might work out good. And I don't know, there's still lots to do. Like really, I can get rid of all this crap. This is all the airbag stuff that I don't need anymore because I don't have airbags in this truck. And I think I either have to find there's the old hole in the floor. I patched it up with the license plate. I've either got to they make a slip yoke that goes in the Turbo 400, but you have to take the tail shaft housing off, which I can do once I pull my cross member out to do all the welding on it. So I can pull the tail shaft, I can pull the bolt out of the sender here where it bolts on, you can see it there. Pull the bolt out of that, pull that out, and then you got to get the O-ring out. But I think I have to take that housing, the whole housing right there off to get into the O-ring, and then they make a special slip yoke for the Turbo 400s that go on that. Or I have to go get the slip yoke out of the motorhome, which I can still go do that, just take the whole driveline out. Take what I need out of that driveline and have, I don't know, I might see if I can get somebody down in Orderville like Shane Frost or one of them guys to help me do it and see if I can get him to help me build a driveline. But I think I'll go ahead and do that probably here pretty quick because I'm going to have this thing to the point of firing it up pretty fast. So, all right, well, I'll get back out from under here and then I'll show you guys a couple more things and then I'm going to move on to some other stuff. So I went online, ordered a cheap fuel pump, which here's the box for that. It's already installed. So I'll show you guys that. It's right there. There's a new fuel pump. I put on in block or one that mounts to your block on there. And I also had to cut a little piece out of there, which my welds didn't turn out the greatest, and I don't have much room to grind it, but it's solid, so I'm okay with that. And the next thing I got that I ordered up, I actually got me a high torque starter, one of the small ones. So I am gonna get underneath this truck and bolt that up. I probably could fit like the medium size starter, not the huge one that came off of the engine that I have in my truck currently now. But I decided just to go with one of these. I decided just to go with one of these small starters because I don't want to have to fight with my frame and my exhaust and all that crap. And I went with a bigger starter on my old S10 that I built, the very first one. And it was a pain in the butt because every time you had to change the starter, you'd either have to pick the engine up or you'd have to pull the exhaust off. It wasn't a good fit. But I'm thinking with this starter, it should be such that I can just take it and I can actually just drop it in and out the bottom of the frame without removing any exhaust parts, without doing any of that kind of crap. And it just makes things easier in the long run. And this starter, I do believe it was like 30 bucks or something like that, something stupid. So if it dies a horrible death here shortly, that's okay, but it'll at least get us going. So it'll at least get us going to the point that we can get this thing running and get all the wiring bugs worked out and everything else like that. And also I've got a distributor that came out of this engine, but I'm going to replace the cap and all that stuff. I'll show you guys that here shortly as I get going on that. And I've got my linkages all built. I got to go to my neighbor's and take him some parts. We're going to probably do a little trading. He's got a floor shifter for me with a cable, and I've got some other S10 parts that he needs for a project he's working on. So let's go ahead and we'll jump right into this. We'll get her started, so stay tuned. All right, so another thing on this S10 that I was going to show you guys real quick because I'm getting the starter in there. So when I marked everything up, this is the original. It's purple. This is the starter wire that actually goes to the starter. This is the stock original one. So I'm just going to go ahead and reuse that. I might put a new end on it, or at least some new shrink tube around it, because that kind of looks like crap. But when I mark these all out, this is the one for the starter. So I'm going to go ahead and take it and feed it down in the hole over there and get it on the starter. Another little trick you're going to want to do, if you're going to have to hook up your starter wires, like the big wire and the small wire, you're going to want to be able to hook those up and then push the starter up into place. So get them kind of where you want them, get them arranged, and then get your starter up into place so that you can bolt it up in with the wires already on it. Because if you don't, there's not a whole lot of room down there. I'm sure you could get it on with the small starter. With the big starters you can't. But I'm going to go ahead and put the wires on beforehand because I don't want to fight it in and fight it around just to get the wires on it later. So I'll go ahead and get that done and I'll show you guys with the starter in. And since this is my budget build, I went ahead and dug through I have an old toolbox that's clear full of bolts that I've saved from lots of things. I only found like 25 starter bolts, so there's no sense in buying any more of those. I'm going to go ahead and put my starter in real quick, and I'm hoping I can get this thing to fire up soon too. We'll get the distributor rebuilt real quick after I get done with the starter, and then we'll slap it in and we'll see if we can get this thing to fire and run. Because I think that we can pretty easily, and it'll be pretty loud, but it'll be awesome. So stay tuned and we'll see what we can get done here. Alright everybody, it's kind of warmed up so I can spend a little time in my shop today. It's a Saturday, so I can actually get out and do something. without having to get called out and go to work. So I'll go ahead and show you guys what I ended up doing with my starter. So I don't know if you'll be able to see down in there too good. You can at least see my wiring that's right here laid in here. I got it zip tied to the holes on my motor mount right here where those slotted holes are for it to slide, because I got it about where I want it now. So I zip tied those down low, and I put them on the starter beforehand, but it still made it a pain in the butt, and I ended up pulling the manifold, the exhaust header, not manifold, the header off this side. So I can reach through the fender well maybe and show you guys a little better. Just hold on one second. So there's my starter, and here's all my wiring right here. There's the small wire that goes to the starter, the purple wire, and then there's the larger wire. A little dark in here, but see here, you can see it right there now. See how it fits in there pretty good? Let's see down in there next to it. It fits pretty nice actually. So I was able to put it up in there and just bolt it in, and so it's done now, and that's a lot easier for me. But I was able to reuse all my old, I used my old battery cable, because it actually, I'll show you here, it's got these plugs. I gotta do a little work on this because this is kind of crappy still, but it actually has these plugs that go to different things. Like there's the one. So like, see, here's the, for the alternator, this goes to the back of the alternator, because this is the, oh, there's a fusible link in it right here, but that goes to the back of the alternator for the charging system. This one here, I'm not 100% sure where it goes. It goes down into the lights and stuff, it looks like, down in here. You can see where it goes back up in there under the battery tray. So I've got to get me a few more things to put together on this, but I think here shortly I might go ahead and I'm going to put in my new cap and my new guts in that so that it's nice and fresh. But I'll do that right here shortly when I get a minute. So I'm going to try to get the distributor in this thing, and then hopefully we can get this thing to fire up just off some gas down the carburetor for a minute. I don't really want to hook up my fuel lines yet until I get all my mounts or all my brackets for so I want to get all my brackets and everything for the front of my engine before I do the fuel system, because I don't want to bend my line off the fuel pump and bend it up and bend it too much or bend it too shallow or all that kind of stuff. I just want it to fit good from the get-go, so I don't have to do it twice. I want to do it once. But so you guys stay tuned, we'll get some more of this stuff done. I got to run to Orderville at some point when I can get down there and pick up, what is it? Okay, so I got to get the drive line out of the motorhome that's down there that I got this engine and tranny from. I'm going to pull that drive line. I'm going to take the slip that's in the drive line, slip yoke that's in the drive line, and probably see if it's how big around the drive line is. I'm not even sure how big around it is yet till I look at it, but if it's close to my S10 one, like where I can cut the end off of an S10 drive line and weld it back in, I've got somebody that I can have do that for me, so that should be fairly easy to do. But it's just all takes time, and where I'm trying to do this is a budget build. It takes even more time because I don't want to just get online and spend a whole pile of money when I can do things and find things by just kind of shopping around. Or I've had people just give me stuff they got laying around that I can use, and so it makes it a lot cheaper that way, but it makes it more of a challenge for sure. Wish I just had endless money and then I could just buy all the stuff I want and build it. So stay tuned and we'll get with you guys when we get done here.